lay him down, lay him down, lay him down, lay him down.
George Zimmerman is not my enemy. You niggas are. George Zimmerman is not my enemy. You niggas are. I can't get upset with George Zimmerman. Oh, I can't get upset with the cop in Oakland who shot the black man in the back. And I can't get upset with the people who even dragged James Byrd to his death. Because in the meantime of all these big three incidences, you can name thousands upon thousands of black men who have murdered other black men. Now, black men have taken it upon themselves right now to not only threaten me, but threaten my family over what? Not that I have caused injury or harm to one black person. Nothing I have said or done has caused one black person to be injured, one black family to be broken up, one black child to not be taken care of by his or her father.
Not a YouTuber, just like making videos. This one right here is a video response to the Tommy Sotomayor video, George Zimmerman is not black people's enemy, but I know who is. Now, I didn't want to do another video on him, but people on YouTube was talking about this new Tommy Sotomayor video where he's cooning, where he's comparing his tribulations to the whole Trayvon Martin, George Zimmerman incident. And I saw the video for myself, and I was completely and utterly disgusted at what I saw. He was going out on a tangent, on a complete hissy fit, whining and crying. I'm like, also, I need to point out the things he was saying classify as hate speech. There's no doubt about it. I'm like, he said there should be a George Zimmerman on every corner. I'm like, he's on the edge of madness, of insanity. He was just straight up woofing. And it was hard for me to sit there and watch this grown man just going on a hissy fit, just like I said before. So, but right now I'm gonna, tear into his logic, rip his argument apart, because that's what I do. I consider myself a master debater, and I love doing this. Black people killing each other, we're our own worst enemy. But even still, a killer is a killer. You can't let racists off the hook just because blacks are killed. Black gangbangers or drug dealers being a killer. He says blacks are we're our own worst enemy, and what he's going through, whatever. I'm like, Tommy chose to make YouTube videos. You know what I'm saying? Nobody asked him to do it. I'm like, this is what he chose to do. I'm like, Trayvon Martin really didn't have a choice. He was going home and he was forced in an uncompromising position. I'm like, in any minute, Tommy could stop what he's doing, or he can make positive videos. He makes videos that piss a bunch of people off, and he can't take the heat. And he does a whole lot of deflections, like, oh, you're getting mad at me, but why don't you get mad at this? Why don't you get mad at that? I'm like, why don't this guy take responsibility for his own words? Why don't he stand by his own words, rather than deflecting, telling us what we should be mad at and this and that? I'm like, he always says, you go against me, but you don't say anything against Rush Limbaugh. You don't say anything against David Duke. Well, why don't you say something against David Duke, motherfucker? You know what I'm saying? Why don't you say something against these white racists or whatever? And I'm gonna be honest with you. I've seen these guys' arguments. The Rush Limbaughs, Sean Hannity's, Bill O'Reilly. I never seen Bill O'Reilly take a clip from World Star Hip Hop of a black female doing something and then completely try to degrade it, talk about black women are beasts. Black women are the worst parents on earth. Show me that clip. Show me where Rush Limbaugh said that. Tommy has said the most vile and disgusting things about black people, more so than these white racists. You know what I'm saying? I analyze their arguments. I'm like, David Duke is a separatist. He wanted to preserve white culture. He felt, you know, and that's his stance. You know, I never heard David Duke call the black woman a beast. You know what I'm saying? Or mock the dead or anything of that. He may say that in the privacy of his own home, but as far as on camera, on the record, I haven't, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, most of his insults are above the belt. He feels black people get too much leeway in this country and yada yada yada. But you know, Tommy is somebody. Now, as far as black people being our greatest enemy, first of all, I like to say, and I like to quote Brother Polite of the House of Consciousness. I would say my greatest enemy is myself. All the bad decisions I've done in my life and my shortcomings, it comes to me. I don't blame black people. I don't blame white people and this or that. Tommy, notice he never takes responsibility for himself. Never. I'm like, this is one dude. I'm like, he blames all his shortcomings. You know what I'm saying? The bad things that happens in his life on black people, on black women, on being around black people. And then, like a coward, he wants to be coveted by his white daddy. You see what I'm saying? I don't want to deal with y'all niggas. I want to deal with the white people. White people don't do this. I'm like, he seems like he has a yellow streak in his back. And no man should respect somebody like this. You think the white man respects Tommy for that? Yeah, he may laugh and be entertained by Tommy. But he don't respect somebody like this. I'm like, this dude is a, you know what I'm saying? He's like a jellyfish. Now, as far as blacks being black's greatest enemy, all right, first of all, most races are their own greatest enemy. Let's take, I did my research, you know, on the most violent cities in the world. And, you know, and everybody's talking about the crime rate in Chicago. Even in that video, I'm reading the comments about black people killing each other in Chicago. Chicago is not even in the top 10 as the most violent cities in the world. Now, I know we're going outside the USA, but bear with me for a second. I'm like Mexicans are Mexico's greatest enemies. I'm like, South Americans are killing each other at a rate that makes the south side of Chicago seem like Disneyland. Do your research. No American city is not even on the top 10 of the most violent cities in the world. You know what I'm saying? Places like Brazil and Mexico dwarfs America. So Brazilians and Mexicans kill each other at a rate that even surpass black people killing each other. Do your research. That's one thing. This is what makes me a good debater. I do research. I don't go off the white man's facts. I don't go up here and say the same thing. Oh, black people in Chicago. Now you may say, well, let's keep it here in America. Okay, well, I agree with you. But you know what I'm saying? When it comes to the Mexicans and the South Americans or whatever that come to this country, a lot of them do want a better life. You know what I'm saying? They get out of the habitat, that dingy habitat. You know what I'm saying? That corrupted habitat. So therefore, a black person to excel, yeah, he has to get out of his habitat. That's why when black people make it overseas, you don't see African Americans going overseas and shooting things up, unless they're a drug dealer making major moves, which that's very rare. But you know, and as I said, you know, I grew up in the military. I've been around black people all my life. 30% of the military was black. Even though I'm in these white towns, my circle is all black. I've never seen black people kill each other. Black people who got jobs, who are construction workers and this and that, and tow truck drivers, they don't kill each other. Now, if black people have the tenacity of violence like people are running around saying, that means a black person who has a job, who has a skill, who's educated, who has a silver spoon in his mouth, you know what I'm saying, should be more prone to violence as a street thug who just come directly from the fucking gutter. In fact, when a black person gets his chops together and gets educated, he's not violent. When he gets knowledge of self, you know what I'm saying? Look at what, so that's why black people have to get out this American ghetto mentality. And emphasize the American ghetto mentality when he joins the Nation of Islam or the Hebrew Israelites, or what Malachi York did to the Nawarians, or the black people who went to Israel with Ben Yasser. I'm sorry if I'm saying Ben Israel or whatever. You don't see them killing each other. No, they have knowledge of self. America, you know what I'm saying, with the help of the white man. And yes, as far as black crime, yeah, white people got their hand deep in that shit. You know what I'm saying? There's no way I'm gonna let white people get a pass and get off of them help orchestrating the destruction of black people in America. And why do Uncle Tom Coons and white people hate Farrakhan so much? If you look at Farrakhan's message, he's trying to clean the black man up. He's telling the black man to get off welfare, to take care of his family. You know what I'm saying? Don't take handouts from the white man. Don't molest children. Don't deal drugs. Don't deal. But we condemn Farrakhan. Why do we condemn Farrakhan for it? Because he says white people are the devil. Some white, and he's really talking about the white establishment. But but a lot of our black leaders are look at Malachi York, the way they shut him down. So it's like, damn, they want black people to be in the ghetto and kill each other. They don't want to spread, because a lot of these black leaders, when they say the white man's the enemy, they get mad. You know what I'm saying? They'll rather have black people follow a gangster rapper or some shit like this. And, okay, now we're going to go into, now I got that, sound like a mosquito. Okay. What else he goes in there? He always talks about this free speech. I read the comments, people talking about one man's opinion and all this stuff. First of all, Tommy is trying to blend fact with opinion. Now, what does Tommy always tell me? He's talking about, he always says, I go by facts. I got facts on my side. Nobody can debate me because I'm dealing with facts. But then we gets into some hot water for some shit he says. What he say? He's talking about, oh, these people that hate me because of my opinion. Okay, what are you dealing with, Tommy? Do you know the difference between fact and opinion? And I'm like, if I go inside a bar and started talking shit, you know what I'm saying, call somebody's wife fat and ugly, that's my opinion. But my opinion can get my ass kicked. And not only that, Tommy also goes off a lot of false information. Look at that Johnny Cash incident, where he got his information talking about she had a miscarriage on stage. Johnny Cash, the stripper, from an unreliable source, from fucking media takeout or hot soup media or whatever. He goes off on her and just talks bad about her and doesn't even know this female. And, you know what I'm saying? Makes a 30-minute something video about her, false information. She comes out with her rebuttal. And then he uses that as a catalyst to go in and really ether her. Now, he rubs a lot of people the wrong way. And you think he won't get no phone calls for that? And I seen one video he did where he clicks on these black females' Facebook photos and goes on completely berates them. Calls them fat, ugly, calls them hair hats or whatever. Displays their photos for everybody seeing his video can see. And one of the females tried to contact him and tell him take the video down, and then he calls her an idiot or whatever. And you know, I did a screenshot of it. It's on my other video. So yeah, you know what I mean? You have freedom of speech, but freedom of speech comes with a consequence. In my opinion, Tommy never really felt the sting. I'm like, nobody's trying to take his freedom of speech away from him. You know what I'm saying? They just have a problem with what he says. And I'm like, now there has been people that had their constitutional rights violated. Like Larry Flint, if you know his story. You know, I'm like, he had to go on trial. 2 Live Crew. You know, they got banned. Their music got banned for a while, and they lost money, and they had to go to court for it. So, and YouTube never guarantees people freedom of speech. It's not even in the guidelines of YouTube. And I'm like, they condemn hate speech. So, That's people. You guys need to get your facts straight or whatever. I think it's completely horrifying and disgusting. I think Tommy has sunk to a new low. I'm like, he is the slime underneath a rock at this point. I'm like, it's just, and I'll tell you, YouTube coons are actually worse than mainstream Fox News coons. You know, because I listened to statements by David Webb, who's a black spokesman for the Tea Party, and even his statements aren't as bad as people as Tommy Sotomayor, Michael 5723, and Painless Risen. Alright, thanks for watching.